What's up, guys? What's up, guys? I'm adjusting these lights. Oh my god, lights was really like blinding me. What's up, guys? What is going on? Last time we came on here yesterday, I was up here talking about Iran. And of course, we went and attacked Qatar and Iraq, the military base. They hit it with the defense. And anyway, I'm here not to talk about that. But before we get started, the housekeeping rules, guys. Bring a snack, bring a drink, bring some coffee, bring some tea, bring some wine, bring whatever you want. Today's sponsor is going to be this lemon. When life gives you lemons, we're going to make lemonade, right? That's what we're going to do now. But remember, like I said, this is a cooking channel. I got tons of recipes using lemon, lemonade, drinks, fish, seafood. I put lemon, a lot of seafood. So go my playlist, just hit seafood, check it out. Anyway, how you guys are doing? Are you guys tired of this Diddy trial? I'm so over this Diddy trial. I heard the prosecution, they rest their case. I don't know what shenanigans the defense is coming with, because first they were like, we're gonna need 2 weeks to do the defense. Then they said we're gonna need one week to do the defense. Then they said we're gonna take 2 days to do the defense. And then they said we're gonna have 1 day to do. They kept going on. Then it was like Diddy's gonna take the stand. They said Diddy's not going to take the stand. Guys, do you guys think Diddy should take the stand? He got a big ego. He got a lot of money. He going to run his mouth doing Nino Brown. The prosecution, he's going to open himself to so much questions. Anyway, so according to CNN, they say he is not going to take the stand. But if you were facing life, would you take the stand? Would you take the stand? I don't know, guys. What do you... Oh, my God. This is so crazy. So, the jury instructions are 140 pages long. 140 pages. That's a lot of pages to sit there and read through jury instructions. And then remember, you have to show your work. So it's not going to be guilty, not guilty. They're going to say it's not guilty, tell me why. And if it's guilty, tell me why. If it's not guilty, tell me why. And I think they can appeal the decision. I think the government, if they don't agree with how you vote, or you don't show your work, or your work is not consistent to the debt to rights, then they can appeal it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's go through the verdict sheet. Here goes the verdict sheet. Now, I found this interesting. There are two verdict sheets. The prosecution has their verdict sheet that has a big description, and then the defense has their verdict sheet that doesn't have a description. The defense verdict sheet just says, check here, yes or no. Remember when you were like kids in kindergarten? Hey, you like me, Johnny? I like you. You want to be my girlfriend? Check yes, check no. Real simple. That's how the defense has it. But where the prosecution has it, it's a lot more in depth. It's a lot more details. So for count one, racketeering conspiracy. How do you feel the defendant Sean Combs with respect to count one? Guilty, not guilty. I know how I feel, and I'm going to explain to you what I think. It says here, A, racketeer. So racketeer, guilty, not guilty. It says A. If you have found the defendant guilty of count one, please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involved kidnapping, including attempt kidnapping, aiding and abetting kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit kidnapping in a violation of California law. Now, to Capricorn Clark, his assistant, go on the stand and testify or perjure herself. She flipped from a co-defendant to be a witness for the prosecution. She testified that she was kidnapped for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 days, right? She was held without her consent, and she had to take not 1, but 2 or 3 lie detector tests. And they told her if she didn't pass, they were going to throw her in the Hudson River, right? That's what she testified. Here's the problem, how I feel. I feel it wasn't Diddy who physically, well, no, that's not true. She did testify he was in the car with her with a bang bang. Him, Uncle Paulie, and then some other overweight guy. the overweight lover, whoever that was, the guy who was doing the testing, right? So here's the problem I have with this. I'm going to explain to you right now. I'm going to explain to you the problem that I have. Hold on. Let me read this to you. In the federal court of New York, the statute of limitations for RICO depends on the type of action in question. Now, there's two types of RICOs: civil RICO, criminal RICO. He's in prison, so it's criminal RICO, governed by the general federal criminal limitations of the statute, 18 U.S.C. 3282, which sets a 5-year limit for non-capital federal crimes, including RICO offenses. The clock starts ticking from the last predicate act committed by the defendant. What does that mean, guys and girls? Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal. I'm just reading the law like you guys are. I could be wrong. Don't kill me. Did Capricorn Clark testify that Diddy put the bang bang in the car and kidnapped her for 5 days? Yes, she did. If she perjured herself, she'd go to prison, right? However, he was arrested September 16, 2024. For criminal RICO, you can only go back 5 years. This is September 16, 2019. Capricorn Clark says she was kidnapped in 2011. So it's prior to the statute of limitations. So I don't know how that's going to stick. If I was Diddy's defense, I'd say, you got to throw it out. It's before September 16, 2019. So on the kidnapping charge, even though she testified she was kidnapped with the bang bang, you got to prove, you have to vote unanimously. Unfortunately, not guilty, because it's prior to September 16, 2019. Because she testified that happened in 2011. Okay, let's go to count one. Number one, B. If you have found the defendant guilty of count one, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involved kidnapping, including attempted kidnapping, aiding and abetting kidnapping, conspiracy, committing kidnapping in violation of New York law. So there were two kidnapping charges: California law, New York law. Okay, that's true. So the kidnapping in New York was with Capricorn Clark, because as I said, they was going to throw it in the Hudson River. The kidnapping violation in California, that must have been Cassie. The video in the hotel, the Continental International in Los Angeles. But that video, when that date was 2016. Once again, anything past September 16, 2019 is past the statute of limitations. So once again, even though we have video and it was proven that that's what is that called? A self-arrest or something like that? Past assimilation. So you're going to have to vote, according to New York State criminal RICO statute of limitations, 5 years. You're going to have to vote no for kidnapping on Cassie and no for kidnapping on Capricorn Clark. There's two not guilty on the RICO. Let's go. I could be wrong, guys, but I'm just reading. Okay, let's go to C. If you found the defendant guilty of count one, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity of the defendant agreed would be committed involving arson, attempted arson, including an abetting arson, conspiracy, commit to arson, violation of California law. Okay, so they're going through, there's the RICO, and then they're going through the predicates. Remember, there's like 40 predicates, but you only have to prove 2. The kidnapping of Cassie and Capricorn Clark were both prior to 2019. Cassie's kidnapping was 2016. Capricorn's kidnapping. Cassie was kidnapped in California 2016. That's prior to 2019. Capricorn Clark's kidnapping in New York was 2011, prior to 2019. Now the arson. Did the LAPD and the LA Fire Department come on the stand and testify that there were fingerprints from when they broke in his house, December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas, with Capricorn Clark with the bang bang? They found out where Kid Cudi lived. They didn't call it a break-in. The police report said trespassing, right? And there were fingerprints. And the fire department came and they found the black Chevrolet at Kid Cudi's house at the time of the break-in, I think it was, or the fire, I'm not sure. They ran the plates. The plates were registered to Bad Boy International, right? The fire department said, yeah, he had 3 cars. The Porsche was the closest one to the car. They had an English 40 OE, so ghetto, with a designer handkerchief, like a Gucci handkerchief inside. The bottle fell down. It fell apart. It didn't blow up, but it caught fire, and there was a burnt lighter. The car that they put on fire was the closest one to the house. So if the car would have blew up, then the house would have blew up, right? The problem was when the fire department went to cross-reference the fingerprints. Well, the fingerprints on the car was a female's. But when they went to cross-reference the fingerprints to the house when they trespassed, those fingerprints were, missing. They were missing. So they would say Diddy might have a mole in LAPD. Possibly, allegedly. Maybe Brother Fahim. Who knows? His name keeps coming up. Again, according to New York Rico'S statute for criminal cases, Diddy was arrested September 16, 2024. You can't go past September 16, 2019. Kid Cudi in the police report alleged that the arson had happened in January 2012. So was it proven? Yes. It was proven. See, I think they're going to try to maybe go and get a state law. But then what's the statute of limitations for arson in California? Ooh, guys. Hold on one second. Oh, sorry, guys. I thought I was sharing my screen. Sorry, guys. All this time I thought I was sharing my screen. Here we go. It was the last one. Let me go back. Guys, look at the screen, guys. Now you can see it here. Racketeering conspiracy number 1, A and B. I just read those. I just want to look at something up real quick. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. I thought I was sharing that. I'm looking at what is the statute of limitations for arson in the state of California. The state judge limit arson depends on specifics and the breakdown. In cases of arson punishable by life in prison, such as aggravated arson, which results in great bodily injury, no statute of limitations. Okay, so if someone was harmed, there's no statute of limitations, but there was not any proof that anyone got harmed, right? If the arson, this is in the state of California where Kid Cudi's car blew up, right? If the arson is a felony punishable by 8 years or more in a state prison, the statute of limitation is 6 years. If it's a felony, this often includes crimes of arson involving inhabited structures. Well, is a portion inhabited structure? I don't think so. If the arson felony punishable at least 8 years in prison, the statute of limitations is 3 years. So 3 years is statute of limitations. This happened in 2012. Nope. Got thrown out. Oh my God, guys. Do you see this? Okay, so it was proven. I'm going to say everything. I'm going to say Cassie's kidnapping was proven, I would say, by the video. Capricorn Clark's kidnapping was proven by her testimony. I would say Kid Cudi's arson, car bombing was proven by the police report and the fire department and the fingerprints. Even though it was a female, it said 50% female. Listen, guys, when we're born, let me break this down for a minute. And if you guys want to contest me in the comments, and that's fine. We're both born with male and female. No one's born 100% male. No one's born 100% female. We're yin and yang. We have both. The dominant gene makes us who we are, right? And Miss Amarung, so can a male have 50% a female fingerprint? Possibly. I'm not the forensic expert, but I think those 3 counts were proven, but based on the RICO in the state of New York, criminal statute of limitations, they all happened before September 16, 2019. So you're going to have to vote not guilty on all 3 of those predicates. Please, I hope I'm wrong. But if you found, let's go to D. If you found the defendant guilty of count 1, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involved bribery, including attempted bribery, aiding and abetting bribery, or conspiracy to commit bribery in a violation. Yes, proven. It was proven. Eddie Garcia came forward, said he got a call. He didn't know how. Capricorn KK got his number, was calling him 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, all hours in the night. I gotta see you. I gotta see you. Puffy pops up with a "You're my angel" with a brown paper bag, $100,000. That's bribery. He testified on the court. He said, and don't spend the money right away. And he divvied it up between 2 or 3 people. He didn't know that the third security had nosy. People got cameras everywhere. You can't go. Anything was there, filming it on his cell phone. They were like, dude, why did you film Diddy beating up Cassie on your cell phone? You see how sick society? We are a sick society, that you are a man and you're going to watch a woman get beat. And instead of calling the police, calling the fire department, going upstairs, helping, interviewing, you're filming it. He said because he wanted to go home and show his wife. And that's the film that was sold to CNN. CNN bought that video. Now, Diddy thought, oh, I got the only tape. Give me the server and the USB. Here's 100,000. He thought he was good. He didn't know there was a third person that had a copy. So the bribery happened. Let me verify my information. I want to say 2016. It had to happen the same year, 2016, right? Yeah, 2016. I was right on the money. I was on the money. Okay, I can't sing, but let's go. So again, did they prove bribery? It's just saying proven, not proven. Yes, it was proven. It was proven. Let's back it up. Let's back it up. Back it up. Cassie kidnapped in California, was it proven? Yes, by video. Capricorn Clark kidnapped in New York, proven for 5 days? Yes, it was proven by her testimony. Guilty of arson. LAPD proved that. Yes, it was proven. If you have found the defendant guilty, the bribery, proven by testimony, right? Count E. If you have found the defendant guilty of count 1, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involving tampering with the witness or a victim. Wasn't he calling them from prison? That might jack him up, because that was witness tampering, right? He was called Dawn. He was calling Dawn. That is no statute of limitation, because that just happened, idiot. He was calling Dawn from prison, using other inmates. Remember, he was selling the macro fish, trying to get credit from the other inmate's phone. He was running the prison or something like that. But what are tampering with the witness? Tampering, the bribery, I guess, tampering with the videotape, right? They had the videotape of Cassie. That's the evidence that's supposed to go to the police. So you're tampering with witness evidence and things like that. Yes. Again, that's 2016 out of the statute of limitations. If you have found the defendant guilty in count 1, please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering defendant agreed with committed forced labor violations. Look, everyone complained. I was getting paid short money. Even his attorneys, Roger Bonds on Flat TV saying he's cheap, he's not paying his attorneys enough money. He had people working 20 hours days, paying them only maybe $60,000. I think some of the bodyguards said they weren't making. That's why I think he hired a lot of people that came right out of jail. Everyone he would hire came right out of jail or prison because he knew they were desperate. And he would pay them short money and tell them, we'll go scalp some tickets for a concert. Like, if you want more money, scalp tickets. And then they would scalp tickets to get more money. And then he would say, give me a cut. Mia was the only one who testified for forced labor. I don't know. I would say no. I would say no, that wasn't proven. I would vote no on that. G. If you have found the defendant guilty of count one, please then indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed to involve S trafficking in the violation federal. Well, if Cassie was S trafficking, it doesn't matter because, like I said, it was past 2019. Now, Jane Doe, that's more current. She's in that era, she's from 2022 till now, up until the day he got arrested or whatever. And you know what's gonna mess him up with the jury? If I was on the jury, what would mess him up, I think, on this one, even though they were in a relationship, she said she loved them, she said she would do anything. That recording, there was a recording that they got in his phone, and he was like, "You better get on your job. You need to get on your job. I've been on my job. You need to get on your job." And he did it by fraud because he was like, "I'm gonna take you to Turks and Caicos, and we're gonna have a good time." They go to Turks and Caicos just to have a vacation, have time, and then he's got male entertainers out there to work. I don't know if he set it up, she set it up. I don't know, but that's fraud. But that plus all the listen, they watched like 50 FO videos, which is crazy. It was like their eyes was covered, their ears were covered. I heard the men were like leaned in, like I heard it was gruesome. I heard some of them, Cassie was like she was unconscious on the ketamine and the K hole or the G hole, whatever hole she be in. I don't know. But I think that's gonna jack him up. That I would be like, Yana, that's AI. That's not me. That's an AI. That's not my recording. Because you could say that now, right? AI can make somebody else's voice, but that recording, he was like, "You better be on your job because I'm on my job." Do you think matter of fact, let's play it. Let me see if I can find it. Hold up. Hang with me, guys. Everything's online now. Because Jane Doe is in the 5-year RICO criminal statute of limitations in New York State. Everything else is bribery, arson, kidnapping, SA with cats. All that is old. I think this is it. Hold on.
So we just got this new audio from the Diddy trial, and it is pretty
explosive.
From TMZ. This is audio of a voicemail that Diddy left to the Jane Doe who's been testifying in this trial for the last couple days, and he sounds really annoyed. It's talking about her maybe giving him the silent treatment, and his response is, "I got a busy life. I can't be dealing with your silent treatment, and we got to keep it moving." He says, "You need to get back on your job." This sounds like a reference to her job being to continue to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know. You think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah. You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence. And ain't nobody threatening you, and I ain't trying to go back and forth with no woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I ain't got no time for no motherfucking games. Where my life is at right now, I don't have no time for no games, baby girl. Me and you could be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is. Cause you got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. So how do you go in the direction of like moving on and shit like that, or you like just like have me just keep moving? Ain't no threat. I'm just being clear. I can't do this shit with you every time you get upset.
That's what I think. Everything else you got to throw it out. Because it's anything prior to September 16, 20. If I was the Diddy's defense, he's got Agnes Lithio or whatever, Brian Shapiro, Westmoreland, Nicole Miswar, Garagos. He's paying them what, $10 million or whatever. I know they better get on there and say everything you heard prior to September 16, 2019, throw it out. But Jane Doe falls in that part. And she's like, I loved him and I wanted to be with him and I didn't mind doing the FOs in the beginning. But then these women were using the FO. I think Cassie and some of the other women, they were using these FOs to kind of be like a girlfriend or maybe a wife one day. Whereas Young Miami was like, I don't want to, I'm here to do the FO because it's fun, allegedly, if she was like, I'm not trying to be your girlfriend. I'm not trying to be your wife. I'm not trying to be, you ever see their video Act Bad? It is a straight FO, guys. Look it up. But what I was saying is that that audio, what does it mean? You better get on your job. I'm paying you $10,000 a month. I've been on my job. If you think I'm going to be paying your bills and taking care of your child, and you're just going to lay up and not do anything, you better get to work like a PIMP. It sounds like a PIMP, right? Okay, so let's go back. God, what do you guys think? What do you think? Are you guys agree? You agree with me? Don't agree with me? Maybe you don't know? Okay, let's go. Let's go. So we did A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right. Transportation. Well, the Punisher said he was only from New York. He was well known in Harlem, and they would meet at the Trump Towers. I never heard the Punisher say he traveled outside of the state. It was in state only. If you found the defendant guilty of count 1, please indicate whether the pattern racketeering activity of the defendant agree would be committed involved in the travel purpose for prostitution in a violation of federal law. Now, see, that's the problem. There's 3 problems. I got a few problems with that, with the prostitution. The problem I have with that, Cassie always called them, Cassie always booked them, Cassie always picked who she wanted to be with, the same with Jane Doe. I'm going to book them, I'm going to pick the date, I need control. If I'm going to be with multiple people, at least let me pick. Was it Antoine or Kablau, and Antoine and the Punisher? They had a few, was repeated. I don't think the other one though, what's his name in Miami? Jonathan Odie. No, Jonathan Odie set them up. He got a spy cam because he said Cassie kept going in the black hole, and he was afraid, God forbid, if she ever got unalived, he won't be found guilty. So he got a spy cam and filmed her, and then he blackmailed Diddy. I think Diddy paid him. What did he get? $2 or $5 million? Why do I know all this stuff? It's so bad. And then he also testified allegedly that he was with. Look it up online. He was with Rick Ross and DJ Khaled at the same time. Y'all remember when Rick Ross was in the hospital for a month, alleged coma? Remember that? I think that was 2018, around the same time with the shenanigans. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Okay. When you're in Harlem and you're an undercover cop, is this how they set up Eddie Murphy with that transvestite? They do that with all those rappers down in Huts Point or whatever. I think that was happening to Mr. C or whoever. They'll pull up a John, they'll pull up undercover. But you cannot solicit. They have to offer you a price first. They offer you a price, and then next you get arrested. It's like you can't sell. It's illegal. And maybe after this case, it will eventually be legal, because I think what they were saying when Kanye West and Bianca, whoever, flew out to Vegas, or like Shannon Sharp is out in Nevada, I think certain counties or certain places in Nevada where Shannon Sharp lives, allegedly, it's legal. So maybe after this case, they're going to make this legal. I don't know, but we have very conservative Supreme Court justice, so probably not. But a lot of these male entertainers always said they were paid at the end of the job. Makes sense, right? At the end of the job, not up to prove this. They're always paid up front. Has everyone been to with the ladies in the night dance? They don't go with you behind the curtain. No, they say, "What would you like? This is how much it costs. Thank you." They collect, and then you go behind the curtain. So that's the problem that I have with that with the mill. They always got paid later. Um, and it was never Diddy. It was never Diddy. Sometimes said he didn't make eye contact. That it was the woman called, booked, and paid. Now, where did they get the money from to trace it back to him? If it was just cash, that's gonna be hard to prove unless it was marked dollars. But that's a gray area, guys. It's gonna be hard for 12 unanimous without a doubt when all of this is outside the statute of limitations and that the females was paying and everything. He really was best keeping his hand clean. But I'm telling you what's gonna mess him up was them voice notes. Guys, they were pulling up back voice notes and text messages and emails over a decade. Crazy. That happened to BMF. Remember Big Meat? She was like, he never talked on his phone. His brother started running his mouth on the phone. And that was it. He did, what did he do? 30 years? 20 years? 30 years, got out in 20, whatever. Okay, let's go to J. If you found the defendant guilty of count 1, then please indicate whether the pattern of racketeering activity that the defendant agreed would be committed involving distributing, possession, distribute, collect, control, substance. Was he distributing drugs? I don't know. They said his mule had enough for personal use. But if you have it on the plane, in the car, it's different if you just have it in your home. But you start taking it in your car and on the plane, moving it around, that could be intent to distribute. Again, what's the quantity? Was the quantity personal? He had a lot though. That Gucci bag, that Fendi bag, that Prada. Remember KK was texting, is it Gucci night? Is it this night? But they should have had Keith Murray came and testify because he was the one saying, oh, they was putting all that stuff in the Ciroc bottles and in the chases and in the orange juice and in the cranberry juice. All right, K, if you check proven for question G, please indicate below whether the part of racketeering conspiracy the defendant agreed did not commit as trafficking of Cassandra Ventura in or about 2009 or in about 2018, whether as part of racketeering conspiracy the defendant agreed and did not commit Jane. Okay, well, Cassie, you have to say yes because they watched the Afro video when she was unconscious and they were, doing the do. How can you consent if you're not coherent? So that's out the window. That's guilty all day long. All day long. I don't care how many times she texts. You're unconscious? Nope. Whether part of the racketeering conspiracy the defendant did commit as trafficking for Jane. The only thing I'm going to say with Jane was I played it. I just played it with you. So that's that. Okay. I said what I had to say now. Let's move forward. I said everything I needed to say. Okay. What is this page? Let me blow it up. Guys, I just be jumping on here. I don't even really be researching anything. I just kind of just whenever the vibe hit, come on. And we just figure it out together, guys. I don't know if you guys can read this. I'm gonna read it. This is part of jury instructions. So the jury instructions are 140 pages. Prosecution rested today. Defense said they don't have no witnesses. CNN just said Diddy said he's not going to take the stand. The defense may close their case Tuesday, Wednesday. By Thursday, they're going to get 140-page jury instructions. It's probably going to take them about 3 days to go through that. So we talking about next week, Tuesday. Diddy, a.k.a. PD, a.k.a. Love, the defendant knowingly transported individuals in interstate and foreign commerce with intent that the individuals engaged in P, and attempted to aid and abet willfully caused the same to wit Combs transport, aided and abetted, and willfully caused transportation of multiple individuals, including but not limited to victim one, Cassie Ventura, and commercial S workers in interstate foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent to engage in P. The grand count for fraud, force, and coercion. I think we went through this before, right? Force, you're dragging her. Fraud, hey, let's take a trip to Turks and Caicos, just me and you. For your birthday, you pop up. There's 3 or 4 male entertainers in the room. Coercion is trick you from at least in or about 2001, including to in or about 2024. In the Southern District of New York, elsewhere, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Brother Love, the defendant in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce only, recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person only in the reckless disregard of the fact that means force, threats, force, or coercion. You guys following me? What do you guys think? I know a lot of men are like not guilty, and not a lot of women are like guilty. It is what it is. This is reminding me of like George Zimmerman, and Trayvon Martin. Everyone said, guy just can't be walking in the night and this young black boy unarmed, without a bang bang and with a hoodie on, trying to get some Skittles and some uh, candy and iced tea for his younger brother, and he gets unalive. But when you read the law, and the law says you can stand your ground, it is what it is. So let's look right here at this law again, one more time. I read it before. I'm going to read it again. Criminal RICO, governor. Okay, let me go back out. In the federal court, including in New York, the statute of limitations for RICO depends on the type of action in question. Criminal RICO, governed by the general federal crimes limitation statute 18 USC 3282, which sets a 5-year limit for non-capital federal crimes, including RICO offenses. The clock starts ticking from the last predicate act committed by the defendant. Last predicate act was the day he was arrested. He was having an FO at the Park Hotel with the girl with the glass heels, so we never figured it out who it was because it wasn't Cassie, and then it wasn't Jane because Jane wasn't with him when he arrested. It's either was maybe Young Miami or maybe it was a girl that he was in Miami with. We never know. It's like Cinderella. It's like the hip hop Cinderella. Who had on the glass slipper? So, a not guilty verdict in a federal criminal case means a jury or judge in the bench of a trial has determined that the prosecution did not prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt in the charges brought under federal law. Presumption of innocence. The defendant is legally presumed innocent unless proven guilty. Burden of proof. The U.S. government, federal prosecutors must prove every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not the same as innocent. A not guilty verdict doesn't necessarily mean that the person is innocent. It means that there wasn't enough proof to convict under the law. Like I said, George Zimmerman. It's not that he didn't murder him cold blood. He did, but to stand your law ground came out in self-defense. Result: the defendant is acquitted of the charges and cannot be tried by the same crime. Double jeopardy applies unless it's a mistrial. Then we have separate state charges. Mistrial. Do you think it's going to be a hung jury, a mistrial? For the jury nullification. I read this the other day. Let's do it again. Jury nullifications where the jury returns a not guilty verdict, even though we believe Diddy did everything, but we still gonna vote him not guilty because they're starstruck by celebrity, because they like his money, because they like his music, they like his power, they feel sorry for him, they feel sorry for the kids. Jury nullification is where the jury returns a not guilty. Oops, let me share my screen, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Where am I at? Jury nullification is when the jury returns a not guilty verdict, even though they believe the defendant is guilty under the law because they think that the law itself is unjust, unfairly applied, or morally wrong in that case. Key facts: legal power, not legal right. Jurors have the power to nullify, but they are not legally instructed or encouraged to do so. Rarely mentioned in court, judges and lawyers almost never tell jurors about nullification. And in some cases, judges may even remove the jurors who openly advocate for it. Can't be punished. Jurors cannot be punished for their verdicts, even if they go against evidence or the law. It's controversial. Some see it as a safeguard against unjust laws and argue it determines the rule of law. In 1850 Fugitive Slave Act, Northern jurors refused to convict people who helped escape slaves, nullifying federal law. The Prohibitionary era, many jurors acquitted people who charged with alcohol-related offenses despite clear guilt. That was another thing the defense was saying. They were saying Diddy was intoxicated for the last decade, so there's no way he committed all these crimes. So he ran a multi-million-dollar company, even though he was drunk for the last 10 years and couldn't have done any FOs because he was intoxicated. And then they were saying, oh, it wasn't a crime to carry cash. So if you had like $9,000, $10,000, like whatever, that's not a crime. That's all they were saying. That's not a crime. In modern times, occasionally used in drug cases and other situations where jurors oppose mandatory minimum sentencing. So it could be a guilty, not guilty, hung jury, mistrial, jury nullification, right? That sound about right? He will not take the stand. He will not take the stand. He will not take the stand. He will not take. That's a smart move. I think the prosecution. Oh my God, if he took the stand. Or if Kanye West took the. If Kanye took the stand, everybody be like, "You're guilty. You're guilty. Fat Joe, you're guilty. JC, you're guilty. Everybody, you're guilty. You're guilty. Meek Mills, French Montana, Khadijah Khaled. Everybody. If Kanye took the stand, Diddy? I don't know. I think Diddy's waiting on that presidential pardon. What you think? Because Suge Knight was like, I think they're gonna swap prisoners. I think Suge Knight's gonna get out. Diddy's gonna go in. But Diddy's not stressed. I mean, I don't know. It was a little shady. It was a little shaky with those jurors, though. One juror got kicked off for lying. Another one had vertigo. Another one was getting taxed. So you juror number 7, he reported it to the judge. So the jury's looking a little shaky, guys. What do you guys think the verdict's gonna be? If they get him, I think it's gonna be on Jane Doe because of that audio. And maybe the rugs, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know if there was enough quantity to prove Rico. You know, rug trafficking, you gotta have some serious weight. I don't know if he had enough weight for that. I don't know. But I will say this though. I'm gonna say this before I go. I'm gonna get up out. I'm gonna get what's up, TikTok? I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna say this before I go, and I said this before, and I'm sure someone asked me, run it back. They said, Al, run back the numbers again. They said you said it before, run back the numbers. The reason why he's gotten away with this for 30 years, I'm gonna run these numbers down. You let me know what you think, and I'm gonna go really fast because I already said this before, and I'm not gonna say it again. In 1991, there was $100 million lawsuit from the Tanya Rumble who got shot in the face at the club in New York. 1999, Club New York shooting incident. 2 other victims received $50,000 to $500,000 settlements, respectively. 1999, $40,000 to $50,000 City College per victim. They should have got a lot more than that. That's how I felt. 1999, $500,000 payout to Steve Stout, who got hit in the head with a champagne bottle over his head because he refused to take off the picture of Diddy on the cross from that video he did with Nas. You Can Hate Me Now. 2008, Capricorn Clark testified she got a check from Universal Music Group for alleged assault. She took $1 million. She was mad because she thought it was going to be a settlement, and they still took taxes out of it. In 2009, Shine got $50,000 for doing 10 years in prison for a bang charge. That's nothing. $50,000 for sitting down for 10 years. 2015, He assaulted UCLA coach. I don't know if there was any payment there. There's nothing recorded, but that did happen. In 2016, Anthony Garcia got $100,000 taking a bribe for the videotape of Cassie in the hotel International Continental Hotel in Los Angeles. In 2017, are you guys counting the money? In 2017, settlement of $10 million. She had sued Mia. Testify she sued for $10 million. She settled for $400,000. Her attorney got 50%. She got $200,000 for alleged assault. 2018, Cassie's best friend Carrie Morgan testified she got paid $30,000 for being that happened. And who's paying out this money? KK? Capricorn Corp? Pay this, pay that, pay that, pay that. Where is she? Is there going to be a next trial after this trial? Diddy and Capricorn, they're going to go to court together? Are they going to hit Diddy with state crimes? Are they going to transfer him to LA for the Keefe D trial with Tupac? He's going to do state crimes over there for obstruction of governmental procedure. We're moving the fingerprints from the arson. They're going to hit him with an arson charge or messing up the fingerprints from breaking into Kid Cudi's house. Is he going to sit there and do state crimes in New York for what he was doing with Jane? That's what they did with R. Kelly. Or send him to Chicago, send him to New York, send him here. Okay, we ain't going to get you in the federal. We're just going to back it up again on his state. And after that, we're going to hit you with the civil. We're going to take all of your money. Plus, his mother got a RICO charge. I'm surprised they put his mother on the stand. In 2023, he got $20 million for Cassie Ventura for trafficking. And in 2024, a Michigan inmate, Derek Lee Cordaro Smith. Look this up, guys. I'm not making this up. I did my research. Go ahead, hit that like button, guys. If you want to send me super chat, PayPal, I'm gonna link it at the top of the chat. Share, subscribe. I'm the underdog here. Look at my pictures. I've been in hip hop. I've been on the road, guys. I know some people who know some people who know some people. So I'm not talking out of the sky here. Put some respect on my name. No, I'm just joking. Listen, in 2024. It was $100 million. He won. Let me say this right. Michigan inmate Derek Lee Cordaro Smith won S assault for $100 million. Okay. That's a lot of money, guys. And that's only what's been settled. That's not things that are pending. That's not other things that he was paid under the table that we don't know about. The list goes on and on and on. Do we want to get this guy off the streets and make our community better and safer place for our kids? Absolutely. Do you think he's guilty? Human beings are very complex people, just like R. Kelly. He could be the best of the best and great music and great producing, all that stuff, but he's still flawed and has some other issues that, it's all about accountability. What does Cat Williams say? Universal deposits. What you put out in this world is what you're going to get back. I think Diddy's just sitting with his karma. I don't wish him ill will. He's got kids, grown kids out here. I don't wish him bad. I don't wish him good. I don't wish him nothing. I just think that there's a higher power, God, the wrath of God's madness. He's got to sit there and deal with it. Hopefully he has had some time to reflect. Maybe not. God has a way of humbling you if you don't humble yourself. Stop cheating charities. One thing, he cheated the AIDS charity. He cheated the charter. He cheated Howard University. He is so cheap and greedy and selfish. And that's why he's in the situation he is, because just like Shannon Sharp, if you were really taking care of whatever it was you need to be taken care of, no one would have to be suing you for any more money. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, guys, I think I said enough. I think I rested my case. I don't want to come back here again and again and again and again. We don't know what the jury's going to do. We don't know. We might be sitting here thinking, oh, they're going to be not guilty, and they come out innocent. Or we're going to be like, oh, he's going to be guilty, and he come out innocent. There's tricks, there's favors, there's payoff, there's tricks. He could get a call from Trump. He may walk out tomorrow. Who knows? I just know with that statute of limitations, it's a wrap. I don't know how they're going to prove anything with that. But that one audio, if I was on the case and I heard that audio, I'd be like, guilty. 2 counts SA with Jane. That's 15 years each. The judge can do it back to back and do 30 years. He's 55. He get out at 85, or they can do it concurrently. He could. I don't think that judge like that guy. I think Judge Arun, if he could give him life, he gonna give him the max. I don't think because they wanted to take the plea deal. Had he took the plea deal, it would have been lenient, 7 feds. You're gonna do 99% of your time, but you know what I mean. He wanted to roll the dice. They're gonna hit him hard. They gonna get him. I think with that videotape with Jane, throw everything out. Capricorn, throw it out. Cassie, throw it out. Arson, throw it out. Kid Cudi, throw it out. The bribery, Garcia, throw all that out. Anything past September 16, 2019, get rid of it out of your head. It's not going to stick. And I don't think he had enough weight to do rug trafficking. But that Jane, talking about you need to get on your job, and give me 2 counts of that, 15 years each year. I settled my case.